Hi, good afternoon, all. This is Sugandhi. I'm the host for this event. I would like to welcome you all on behalf of Pioneer Business Solution and ASET. So, welcome to the webinar. So, before diving into the webinar, I would like to take a moment, uh, give a small introduction about us. And once again, welcome to the webinar. Yeah, yeah. Pioneer Business Solution. Yeah, we Yeah. So Pioneer Business Solution, we are a trusted corporate training providers, learning providers across the globe, and we also present across physically and virtually. And second, so- I hope my screen is visible and I'm audible. Raj, can you confirm?
Yes, Sugandhi.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, good afternoon, all, once again, and sorry for the glitch. And a warm welcome to all the participants and the guest. We have a guest with us, a trainer, Farhan, and Farhan and ASA team. Welcome to all, and I delightly uh, representing Pioneer Business Solution, and we are an organization built our values, innovation, and quality and partnership. And I just wanted to give a small introduction about us, what we do and what we does. And so I'm finding some difficulties in accessing pages. Yeah. So Pioneer, we are, as I mentioned, that we are trusted corporate learning and development partnership specialized in digital technology and learning solution across the globe. And we also partnered with organization built future ready talents and aligned learning innovation initiation and business goal. And our mission is to empower leaders with skills, knowledge needed. And many of the we also known in the market for all the niche topics and niche technology we serve according to the needs, and then we align to the client expectations. And this is our footprints that we support corporate training, information technology, mechanical and civil engineering services, cloud services, HR services, and corporate giftings. And this is our we privilege to have a partnership with ASET. So we are an authorized partnership with ASET. ASET certification body. Everyone wants to use AI in their day-to-day task and their roles and everything. How that will be impactful. So ASET is a one can be utilized in all the verticals, all the industries according to their roles and designations. And the programs and all the courses has been designed in such a way. And this certification is globally recognized authorization, artificial intelligence and data science, and many more. And this is about the webinar. Today's webinar is all about transforming vision into intelligent action. So the target audience, you are here now. So business leader, executives, decision makers, who is shaping the futures of your organization, and strategic focus. That AI role, business strategies, how it will impact in each role, as I mentioned, and this is a key outcomes leveraging AI for growth, transformation, and competitive advantage. So this is a important information for the participants. So post the webinar completion, you will be getting the participation certification and session recording, and we will be having at the end of the webinar, we'll be having the Q&A as well. And let's get into the webinar. Let's not wait much more. So I would like to welcome Mr. Farhan with us. He's a Microsoft certified trainer and AI specialist. And he also 25 plus organization transformed and 500 plus professional certified and 15 plus industries he has served and certified expert empowering organization to harness artificial intelligence through executive programs. So I would like to welcome Paran and thanks for taking this opportunity. And I hope all the participants will enjoy and you will take a lot of insights from this webinar. And thank you once again and welcoming you all for this webinar. And over to you, Farah. Thank you.
Thank you, Sukandi. Much appreciated. Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammad Farhan Siddiqui, and I will be your guide for this particular session. Allow me to quickly share my screen so that you can also visualize and follow along. I would request Sugandhi to stop sharing so that I can take over. Thank you so much. Just give me a second here.
Thank you.
Perfect. So let me welcome you officially and formally to this wonderful session on AI. Hello, everyone. Since we have a lot to cover today, all lines have been muted to make sure the audio stays clear for everyone. I encourage you to stay focused, take notes, and think about how these ideas apply to your organization or your own job role. So, my name is Farhan Siddiqui, and I am an AI Cert certified trainer. Along with that, I am also a Microsoft certified trainer who works closely with professionals and business leaders to help them transform in their career or their organization. Today, we are moving beyond the hype of AI. There is a lot of noise out there, new tools, new trends, bold claims every week, and whatnot. But this session is not about hype. This session is about reality. We're going to talk about how business leaders can actually use AI in a practical way to improve decisions, increase efficiency, and drive real results that actually matters. This session is brought to you by AI Certs, a global organization focused on professional AI certifications, and Pioneer Business, a company that supports digital growth and leadership development. My goal for today's session is quite simple and straightforward. By the end of this hour, I want you to have a clear roadmap of how AI can transform you or your business. Not just ideas, not just inspiration, but a clear way to think about AI in your business. You should leave knowing why AI matters now, where to start, what risks to watch, and how to lead your teams through change. So let's begin. Now, let me quickly walk you through how the next hour is structured and why we have organized it this way. We will begin with strategic understanding. Before we talk about tools or execution, we need clarity on why AI matters right now. If the why is not clear, the how becomes confusing. So we will start by looking at what is driving this rapid shift and why it has become a business priority. From there, we will move into execution frameworks. This is where things become practical. It is one thing to discuss ideas, it is another to turn them into systems that actually work inside an organization. We will talk about how to move from concept to implementation in a structured way. Next, we will address ethical governance. AI is powerful, but it carries risk. Poor oversight can create reputational damage very quickly. So we will look at how to implement guardrails without slowing down progress. After that, we will focus on people. Technology alone does not create results. Culture and people do. We will discuss how to prepare teams, reduce resistance in AI adoption, and build confidence around AI adoption. Then I'll briefly introduce the AI executive certification for those who want a more structured learning path beyond today's session. And finally, we will close with a Q&A segment. Even though this is a one-way session wherein I only will be talking, I encourage you to share questions in the chat. Your questions are very welcome. I want this session to feel interactive and practical, not just theoretical. Again, at any point, if you have any question which you would like to get an answer for, feel free to drop it in the chat box. With that in mind, let's begin. So let's begin with a very simple question. What is artificial intelligence? AI is the new buzzword, right? But it is actually the ability of machines or computer systems to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. This includes understanding language, recognizing images, learning from experience, solving complex problems, and making informed decisions. In simple terms, AI is when computers are trained to learn and make decisions in a way that feels similar to how we humans think. Now, why does this matter to us as business leaders or professionals? Let's step back and look at the bigger picture, what I call the strategic imperative. If we were having this conversation 3, 4 years ago, I would say AI is still experimental, interesting, promising, but not urgent. However, in 2026, that is no longer the case. AI has moved from being a nice to have tool to becoming a core part of how companies operate. It is now a part of a strategy and not just technology. And when something becomes part of competitive advantage, ignoring is no longer neutral. It becomes risky. Now let's look at the number on the screen. And more importantly, let's understand what they really mean. First is productivity. Early adopters report up to a 40% increase in operational efficiency. This does not mean people are working harder. It means routine work is being automated. Think about your own organization. How many hours are spent writing reports, updating spreadsheets, responding to repetitive emails, scheduling meetings, or simply reviewing documents? These tasks usually follow a pattern, and everything that follows a pattern can often be supported or even directly handled by AI. When these repetitive tasks or mundane tasks are automated, your team gets some time back. And time, as we all know, is the most valuable resource in any company. Next is revenue. Some organizations are seeing up to a 50% increase in customer lifetime value. Why? Because AI helps companies understand customers better. It analyzes behavior, detects patterns, and predicts needs. Instead of reacting to customers, companies can anticipate what they want next. That improves satisfaction, strengthens loyalty, and increases repeat business. Think about a situation when you were tried something from an e-commerce website such as Amazon, Flipkart, or any other platform you can think of. When you were about to check out, something popped up. Did you miss this? Here is a recommendation for you. And more often than not, you will end up buying the product which you didn't even need in the first place. Here is a wonderful offer for you. Here is an exclusive deal for you, whatnot. These suggestions, these personalized recommendations are made with the help of AI. And when customers buy more, they in turn generate larger revenue. The next point is about cost reduction. Some companies are reducing waste and overhead by more than 20%. This is not about replacing people, it is about fixing broken processes. AI can analyze large volumes of data and spot inefficiencies that human might miss. It can identify delays, duplication, and errors across operations. It helps organizations operate tighter and smarter. So when we look at productivity, revenue, and cost together, we see something very important. AI impacts all three core drivers of business performance. And that is why the real question today is, should we use AI? No, it's not. The real question is, how quickly and how wisely should we start using AI? That brings me to my next slide, which shows the scale of what we are dealing with. The projected global impact of AI is estimated at $15.7 trillion by 2030. That number is so large that it is difficult to truly picture. In simple words, it is larger than current GDP of many major economies combined. This is not a niche technology shift. People. This is a global economic shift. What this tells us is quite simple. We are witnessing a transformation that many compare to the Industrial Revolution. During that time, companies that adopted early became market leaders. But those who resisted change slowly disappeared from the market. We are now in a similar movement. But it is not just about the size of the market, it is about behavior. Today, nearly three out of every four executives believe AI is essential for future growth. That means your competitors are not just experimenting, they are investing, they are building, and they are planning for long term. If you look at the industry breakdown on the chart, you will notice something very important. Yes, technology companies are leading. That is expected, of course, but what stands out is how closely other industries, such as financial service, healthcare and pharma, manufacturing, etc., are following. Adoption is accelerating across every major sector. And this tells us that AI is no longer a tech industry topic. It is a business topic. It is an operations topic. It is a leadership topic. The momentum is already quite strong. The shift is already happening. The companies that move early will shape the market. The companies that delay will be forced to catch up under pressure. The opportunity is massive, but it will not wait. Now, this slide is probably the most serious slide in this set. We have talked about the opportunity. Now we need to talk about the risk. That is the cost of inaction. In most discussions about AI, people focus on the upside: higher productivity, lower cost, better customer experience, greater revenue generation, and so on. But very few conversations focus on what happens if you choose to wait, if you do nothing. We're entering what many call the AI divide. This is the growing gap between companies that adopt AI strategically and those that delay. And here is the important part. If you delay, you are not standing still. You are failing behind. Because while you are evaluating, your competitors are implementing. So there are three major ways companies lose when they wait. And we can see them over here. Let me highlight those for you real quick. Here we go. First one is market share erosion. Your competitors are not just moving faster, they are innovating faster. If they use AI to speed up research, product testing, and customer feedback analysis, they can release improved versions of products much sooner. By the time you launch version 1, they may be already on version 2 or 3. Over time, that speed different compounds, which leads to market share erosion, of course. Second is talent drain. This is a major factor that people often underestimate. High performers want to work in forward looking organizations. I mean, at the end of the day, we also want to have the latest toys to play around with. So people want tools that make them better at their jobs. If your company still lacks licenses or relies on manual processes while competitors are using intelligent AI systems, your best people will definitely leave. Talent only follows growth. That is why we do not want to be behind on this. Third point is about operational rigidity. Without AI, decision making remains reactive. You solve problems after they occur. With AI, however, you can detect patterns early and prevent issues before they become expensive mistakes. That ability to predict instead of reacting creates a serious advantage. So when you combine these three factors, market share, talent, and operations, the message becomes clear. Staying the same is not safe. In the fast moving environment, standing still is actually moving backward. That is why having a clear AI it is becoming a basic requirement for long-term survival and growth. So now we know we need to act. But the next question is where do we start? Or how should we start? Where many people get overwhelmed. They assume every AI initiative has to be a massive transformation, a moonshot, complete redesign of the business. That assumption creates paralysis. That is simply not true. Not every project needs to change the world. Many successful AI initiatives start small and then scale big. They focus on delivering value. And once users start seeing some value, it's a good idea to scale that. To make this manageable, you can categorize your initiatives into three simple buckets. The first bucket is yes, optimization. This is about improving what already exists. You are not changing your business model. You are not entering new markets. You are simply making current processes faster, smoother, and less expensive. Examples include automated customer support, fraud detection, and internal reporting. These projects often deliver quick wins. They build confidence and they usually require lower risk. The second bucket, which we see right here, is expansion. This is about growth. AI helps you enhance existing products or services. You are taking what you already do and making it smarter. Some examples I can give you are of AI driven personalized recommendations, which we talked about previously, personalized marketing, or dynamic pricing. In this bucket, expansion bucket, AI begins to generate new revenue, not just save costs. And the third one is transformation. This is where entirely new. Yeah, so people, we were discussing how we should not directly start with a complete transformation and we should first try and optimize what we already have. Once we have built some confidence, we can go ahead and transform our entire business strategy or business model. Again, people, clarity reduces overwhelm. The structure reduces fear. And once you place initiatives in the right bucket, the path forward becomes much clearer. So now that we have the vision, the next question is how do we execute it? This is where many AI initiatives fail, not because the technology is weak, but because it is disconnected from business goals. So the first rule of strategic integration is very clear. Do not let AI be built in isolation. It cannot live inside the IT department alone. I cannot stress this enough. Let me repeat it one more time. AI initiatives cannot live inside the IT department alone. They must solve real business problems. We can break execution into three clear phases. Phase one is the diagnostic phase. Think of this as health check for your organization. Before investing money, you identify high value use cases. Where can AI realistically create impact? At the same time, you assess data readiness. Is your data accurate? Is it organized? Is it accessible? There is no point building intelligent systems on messy foundations. This phase, again, is about clarity and prioritization. Phase two, which we see right here, let me actually use pen. I like that, is capability building. Once you know where the opportunity lies, you prepare your tools and your team. This is where leaders must make an important decision. Buy, build, or partner. Do you purchase existing solutions? Do you develop something internally? Or do you collaborate with an external expert? There is no single correct answer. The right choice depends on your budget, timeline, internal skills, talent pool, and long term strategy. The key is to be deliberate and clear. The last phase is scaling. And this is where many companies struggle. It is relatively easy to run a pilot project within one department. It is much harder to expand that success across the entire organization. Scaling requires alignment, training, and governance. It requires consistent standards so that different teams are not building disconnected systems. Governance here simply means clear rules, clear ownership, and clear accountability. So when you look at these three phases together, the message is simple. AI adoption is not a single disease. It is a structured journey, and like any journey, it works best when taken step by step. Now, one of the most common questions leaders or executives ask is, how long does this actually take? The honest answer is that meaningful AI integration is not a 2 week project. It is also not a 5 year mastery either. For most organizations, a structured 12-month roadmap, which we see outlined here, is realistic. Again, this is not a sprint, it is a disciplined journey. So the first phase is the strategy, usually covering months 1 and 2. During this time, you focus on planning. You define clear objectives and measurable KPI. What exactly are we trying to improve? Are we trying to reduce cost? Are we trying to improve speed? Are we trying to improve revenue or customer experience and whatnot? This is not the time to purchase expensive tools, but it is the time to align leadership, clarify priorities, and define what success will look like. Many companies skip this step and then regret it later. Next comes the foundation phase, typically months 3 to 5, and this is where the work is not that glamorous, but absolutely necessary. You focus on data quality, governance rules, and process alignment. If your data is inconsistent or incomplete, the AI systems will reflect those weaknesses. This phase ensures that your foundation is stable before you build on top of it. Then we move to the pilot phase. This is usually month 6 to 8. Here you launch a focused MVP, a minimum viable product. That simply means a small working version of your idea. Instead of trying to transform the entire company at once, you test one high impact use case. The goal is to prove value in a controlled environment. After that comes our next phase, which is evaluation. This is typically months 9 and 10, and this is where discipline really matters. You measure results. Did productivity improve? Did cost decrease? Did customer engagement or experience improve? Did cost increased instead of decreasing? And so on. If the results are strong, you refine and prepare for expansion or scale. If not, this is the moment to step back and adjust. It is better to correct at this stage rather than to scale something ineffective. Don't let the sunk cost policy get better of you. If the product is not ready for scaling, step back, refine it, and only then advance to the next phase, which is the scaling phase. Here, you consider rolling out solutions across the entire organization. Scaling requires training, communication, and alignment. It is not just technical expansion, it is organizational change. What good is a product which is not adopted by its user, right? You have built a wonderful solution, but now your people are not ready to use it altogether. So that would turn the project from a complete success to a disaster. And you don't want that as an organization. So the quote at the bottom of the slide captures the mindset we need. The goal is not to move recklessly fast. The goal is to balance the speed of AI with sound human judgment. Technology helps us accelerate. Leadership ensures we move in the right direction. Now, before any AI systems can deliver results, it depends on one thing: data. If there is one idea to remember from this slide, remember that AI systems reflect the quality of the data they receive. Good data leads to reliable insights. Poor data leads to unreliable outcomes. It is easy to assume that data quality is only an IT team responsibility. In reality, it affects everyone in the organization. The way information is collected, stored, updated, and shared directly impacts how well AI tools perform. And there are three key areas to focus on. First one is quality over quantity. Many organizations collect large volumes of data and assume more is always better. That is not true. If the data is inaccurate, outdated, or biased, the system will generate weak results. Clean and structured data is far more valuable than large amounts of disorganized information. Second is accessibility. In many companies, information sits in separate systems. Sales data in one platform, marketing data is in another, customer service data is somewhere else, operations data is in another data silo. When systems are disconnected, AI cannot see the complete picture. AI can only see what it is presented to it. When data is integrated, insights become more meaningful and more accurate. Third, is, of course, infrastructure. AI tools, as we all know, require stable and reliable systems to operate effectively. This does not mean every organization needs the most advanced, the latest and greatest, or state of the art technology. Simply means the foundation must be strong enough to support the workload. If the environment is unstable, performance will suffer. So, before investing heavily in advanced AI solutions, please ensure that your data foundation is solid and robust. When data is accurate, connected, and supported properly, AI becomes a powerful uh, advantage instead of a risky experiment. Moving to the next slide. Okay, the governance table. Now we have discussed strategy and data. Now we need to talk about control. AI is powerful, but without clear guardrails, it can create risk. Governance is simply the system that ensures AI is used safely, responsibly, and consistently. There are four core areas to focus, which we can see in this slide. The first is data privacy. This is about protecting sensitive information, both customer data and internal company data. Trust is built on protection. If people believe their information is not secure, adoption will collapse. The strong governance means clear policies, the strong security practices, and full compliance with relevant local or global privacy laws. Even one major data breach can damage reputation and credibility. The second one is model accuracy. AI systems are not perfect. Sometimes they generate incorrect or misleading information, and this is especially true with language models. That is why testing is so critical and important. Before relying on AI for decisions, organization must measure performance carefully. Accuracy levels must be monitored consistently, and systems should be validated before large scale deployment. The third area is bias control. AI systems learn from historical data. If the data reflect past inequalities or unfair treatment, the system can repeat those patterns. Regular audits help ensure the system treats customers, employees, and stakeholders fairly. Fairness is again not automatic, it must be monitored and managed. The fourth area, the last one we want to talk about is transparency. So, when AI systems influence decisions, people need to understand how those decisions were made. In business discussions, the system said so or the AI said so is not a sufficient explanation. Teams or people must be able to trace outcomes back to logic and data. Clear documentation and explainability or transparency creates accountability. So, see that strong governance does not slow innovation. In fact, it does the opposite. When guardrails are clear, teams feel confident moving forward. The structure again builds trust, and that also enables speed in adoption and scale. That brings me to my next slide, which is about leading with integrity. So we have discussed governance and structure. Now we need to talk about ethics. Many people see ethics as a restriction or a checklist. In reality, ethics is what builds long term trust. And in an AI driven environment, trust becomes one of the most valuable assets an organization can have. If customers do not trust the system, they will not use it. If employees do not trust the tools, they will resist them. And adoption, of course, depends on the confidence. So there are these three simple principles which we need to focus on. First is to keep humans at the center. AI should support people, not replace their judgment. It should help teams make better decisions, not remove accountability. When people see AI as a tool that improves their performance, they are more willing to embrace it. Second, take responsibility for outcomes. AI systems can sometimes produce results that are difficult to explain, but sometimes the responsibility does not disappear just because a system was involved. Organizations must own the results of the systems they deploy. Clear ownership will build credibility. Third, think about the broader. AI can change roles, workflows, and expectations. Ignoring that creates fear, and addressing it openly creates stability. Preparing teams for change is part of using AI responsibly. So you can say that ethics is not only about avoiding problems, it is about building a reputation that lasts over a long time. In a fast moving technology environment, trust becomes your competitive advantage. Now, let's talk about the legal environment. At first glance, it may seem complex, but in practical terms, there are three main areas to pay attention to. The first is, of course, the EU AI Act, and this is one of the first major laws focused specifically on AI. It classifies AI systems based on risk levels with stricter requirements for higher risk applications. Even if your organization does not operate directly in Europe, this regulation is influencing global standards. Many other regions are shaping their policies in a similar direction. So you need to ensure that your tool is compliant with this EU AI Act. The second is the NIST or NIST framework from the US. This is not a law, but a structured guide for managing AI risk. It focuses on reliability, safety, security, and transparency. Many organizations use it as a reference when building internal AI policies. The third area is industry specific regulation. If you work in finance, healthcare, insurance, or other regulated sectors, you already operate under compliance requirements. As AI becomes part of decision making, those existing rules now apply to your algorithms or your tools as well. Automated decisions must meet the same standard as human decisions. So, the main takeaway from this slide is to not wait for a regulatory issue to arise before taking compliance seriously. Being proactive reduces risk, protects your reputation, and builds confidence with customers and partners. Clear compliance is not only about avoiding penalties, it is about maintaining trust and it is about being responsible. So, how do we mitigate AI bias? This topic is quite critical because it directly affects reputation. AI systems learn from the historical data, and historical data is not always neutral or fair. If the data contains past bias, the system can repeat those patterns, sometimes at a much larger scale. That is why bias management cannot be ignored. It must be addressed intentionally. Again, there are three practical ways to reduce this risk. First is to involve diverse teams in development and review. When the same type of people design and audit a system, they may overlook the same issues. Different perspectives help identify blind spots, diversify in data labeling, testing, and review improves fairness. Second is to implement continuous monitoring. AI systems are not static. Over time, performance can shift as new data flows in. Regular audits help ensure the system continues to behave fairly. And this is especially important for systems that influence hiring, lending, healthcare decisions, or any other high impact area. Monitoring should be ongoing and continuous, not occasional. Third is to create feedback channels. Users should have a way to report outcomes that seem incorrect or unfair. Real world feedback help improve performance and detect issues early. If you have used any generative AI, you must have seen that there is always an option to report whether the response was correct or incorrect, how it can be improved. There is always an option to share your feedback. People who are interacting with the system are the ones who often notice problems before engineers or dashboards. That is why having a feedback loop in place is so important. Finally, let us look at the checklist on this slide. Ask yourself, has the training data been reviewed carefully? Can your AI model decisions be explained clearly? And most importantly, if something goes wrong, can the system be paused immediately? Every organization should have the ability to intervene quickly if unexpected behavior appears. If the system starts showing erratic behavior, can you shut it down immediately or instantly? If the answer is no, you are not ready to launch. Each and every system should have what we call a kill switch in place so that if anything goes wrong, you can kill the system instantly. Please know that fairness is not automatic. It requires attention, monitoring, and accountability. When handled properly, it protects both people and reputation. So, we have discussed technology, governance, and compliance. Now we come to the most important factor, people. In many organizations, the biggest barrier to AI success is not the software, it is culture. If team feels uncertain or threatened by AI, adoption slows down. Tools alone do not create impact, people and culture do. So there are few key areas we need to focus on. First is upskill. AI knowledge should not stay limited to technical teams. Basic AI literacy should be available across the organization. Employees uh, do not need to be an engineer to access it. Right? They should, to some extent, understand how AI works, what it can do, and where its limits are. When people understand tools, fear reduces and confidence grows. Most of us use Teams, Zooms, Copilot, ChatGPT, and other tools. Each of them are easy to adopt simply because people understand them. If these tools were complex, their adoption would plummet simply because people would get frustrated and then they would stop using the tool altogether. So that is why it is important to provide your users some kind of training about AI awareness, about tool and the do's and don'ts of AI. Second one is psychological safety. Change creates uncertainty. Right? Some employers may worry about their job role changing or skills becoming outdated. Avoiding this conversation increases anxiety. Addressing it openly builds trust. Clear communication about reskilling opportunities and role evolution helps teams feel supported rather than threatened. Third is agility. AI adoption involves experimentation. Not every pilot or launch will succeed immediately. Organizations need an environment where testing new ideas is encouraged and learning from mistakes is accepted. Progress improves when teams are allowed to adapt and refine quickly. So, people, when users feel informed, supported, and empowered, they are far more likely to use AI effectively. Culture, which we will talk about in a moment, also determines whether technology becomes an advantage or an unused investment. So, we talked about culture, let's talk about it a little more. Building the team, which we talked about in the previous slide, is step one. Step two is building the culture that keeps them going. You can have the best technology in the world, but it will fail if your culture fights against it. To lead this change effectively, you need to focus on transparency, continuous learning, and incentivizing innovation. Let's talk about transparency first. The slide reminds us that trust is built through clarity, something which we have talked about quite a few times already. This is your antidote to fear. You need to be completely honest about which roles will evolve and how the company will support the transition. If your staff knows exactly what is coming, they will feel safe enough to come along for the ride. Then we have continuous learning. As we all know, AI moves very fast. You cannot just do one training session and be done with it. The slide suggests some practical ideas like establishing learning Fridays or internal AI academies. This gives your team dedicated time to keep the workforce ahead of the curve. Third, and the last point is about incentivizing innovation. You have to make it worth their while. You need to reward teams that find innovative ways to use AI, whether they use tools that have solved some kind of problem, business problem, be precise, or client problems, or simply reduce internal friction, celebrate it publicly. When you lead with these core values, AI becomes something your team runs towards, not away from. So now let's move from theory to practice. What does all of this, which we just talked about, actually look like in the real world? We have two case studies in the slide. The first one is of a global logistics company. They implemented a predictive maintenance system powered by AI. Instead of waiting for machines to fail, the system analyzed performance data and identified partners that indicated early signs of breakdown. Maintenance teams could act before failures occurred, and the result was significant. Downtime was reduced by whopping 35%, and will savings reached approximately $120 million. Imagine that. Now, here in this case study, the real lesson is not technical. The breakthrough did not come from writing better code. It came from coordination. Different departments had to share data that had previously been isolated. Operations, maintenance, and analytics teams had to align. The real leadership challenge was organizational, not technical. The second example we have is of this retail tech giant. They use generative AI to assist with marketing content creation, writing campaign copies, product descriptions, and promotional messages. All of these were generated or supported by AI tools. And the outcome was not only faster production, where you could see that the content output increased by a whopping 200%. Imagine the increase in productivity. Imagine the increase in boost in confidence, right? When you are operating at nearly double the rate, you would feel a lot more confident about it. Now, at the same time, click-through rates improved by 15%. That means customer responded positively to this strategy. The AI did not just increase speed, it also improved effectiveness. So these case studies or examples highlight a very important point. AI success is not about having the most advanced system. It is about applying the technology or the tool to a meaningful business problem. The idea is to identify a problem and then find an AI tool which will help you solve that. When AI is aligned with clear objectives, measurable results follow. And the key takeaway, of course, for us from this slide is that success isn't about having the best code, right? It is about having the best and most strategic value. So before we close, I want to briefly mention the AI Plus Executive Certification. This program is designed for professionals who want structured knowledge in AI strategy and implementation. It focuses on understanding core AI concepts, business applications, governance considerations, and project management in an organizational context. The curriculum covers areas such as AI fundamentals, strategic integration, ethical considerations, managing AI initiatives, and department level applications. It is structured to support individuals who are responsible for decision making, transformation initiatives, or cross functional coordination. People, if you're looking for a more detailed and guided learning path beyond this session, this certification provides that structure. So feel free to check it out. Now, finally, let's briefly look at how the curriculum for this AI plus executive course is structured. It is divided into two practical parts. The first part focuses on foundations. The initial modules cover core AI concepts, business implications, strategy, and ethical considerations. The goal is to build clarity. Participants gain a structured understanding of how AI fits into business decision making and organizational planning. The second part focuses on AI applications. This includes managing AI initiatives, preparing teams for adoption, and understanding how AI can be applied across departments such as HR, finance, and sales. The final module includes an interactive workshop, which is my favorite, where real world scenarios are discussed and analyzed. The overall objective of this program is to move from awareness to structured capability. It is designed to support professionals who want a clear framework for approaching AI in their roles. With that, we have reached the end of today's session. That is pretty much it what I had from my today's session. Thank you so much for your time and attention. We covered AI strategy, risk management, governance, building culture, and real world applications. I will now open this session for questions. Please feel free to share your thoughts or queries in the chat, and we will address them one by one. Thank you so much once again. I will go ahead and stop sharing now.
Yeah. Thank you, Farhan, for a wonderful webinar. So, participants, if you have any questions, you can raise here. You can give it in the chat box, or else you can unmute and we can talk. Anybody have any questions? Okay. And so we'll wait for couple of minutes. Yeah, Farhan. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes if participants might be typing. So thanks for. Yeah, we have one question. Yeah, Ram Babu. I hope you can able to see the chat box.
I can, yes. I am going through the chat as we speak. Who says, very good insights. Whom should we read to get more details about AI plus course? You want to take this one, Sugandhi?
Yeah. Okay. As mentioned, AI courses has been designed for each role, different courses from the executive level to advanced level. So each module has been designed based on the rules and the domains which they are working. So as we mentioned earlier, that industries wise we are working on when it is come to the courses.
Thank you, Sugandhi.
So, Parag,
We have
what is
another
the
question from
AI?
Arun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Arun Kumar has
yeah.
raised.
It says, thanks, Farhan, for the wonderful session. What are AI hallucinations and how do they impact the reliability of AI generated outputs? That's a great question, Arun. So AI hallucination occurs when the system generates incorrect or inconsistent responses, which are factually incorrect. It is usually due to inconsistent data, or if the system is trained on biased data, it may hallucinate and generate incorrect responses. The impact is that this completely erodes your trust in the system. If the system is generating incorrect responses or hallucinating all the times, you would be not willing to use the tool altogether. Why? Because you know that the system may deliver incorrect or inconsistent results. So this again erodes confidence and user trust in the tool. That is why it is extremely important to train your AI model on correct and unbiased data.
Yeah, meanwhile, others can give you a valuable feedback. Yeah, so one more question has been raised. The course duration will be 8 hours. Yeah, we have technical courses. That courses will be 40 hours. Non-technical courses are 8 hours. As we come to the end of today's webinar, I would like to sincerely thank each one of you taking your time to join us, and your presence and participation is truly made the session meaningful. And we hope this discussion has provided you with insights about clarity that you can apply your respective roles. So, as I mentioned earlier, the each roles has been designed in such a way for their designation and their industry. And we request all the participants to give your valuable feedbacks. So this is very important for us. So I request you to share your thoughts and insights and suggestions so that we can we perform and we can deliver the upcoming webinar better. Once again, thank you, Farhan, for taking this webinar, and it was really wonderful and insightful. And we look forward to connect with you for the upcoming session. Even participants will come back to you shortly with the upcoming webinars. And kindly give your valuable feedbacks. And if any other questions, you can raise.
Thanks, Sugandhi. we have put a link in the chat which you can use to share your feedback. This will help us improve and serve you better. So feel free to use that link to share your feedback.
Yeah, and if you wanted to know more about it, you can reach us directly through your learning department. So how you got an email, right? So with them, we can connect with your team. And thank you all once again for taking this opportunity and taking your valuable time to attend this webinar. And in the feedback, we have given one suggestion column also. There also you can raise your questions. If you have anything, we'll get with the answers. We'll come back to you with the answers.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it, I guess. Yeah. Thank you all once again. Thank you, Farhan. And thank you all ASA team and Pioneer team.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Have a
Thank you for
wonderful
joining
evening.
us today.